Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. It is Alanna, your favorite realtor with Compass. Hey. I'm literally here today because I wanted to give you guys a rundown on how the rental process works. I just wanted to come here to provide some kind of common understanding so we can go into this process with some clarity. I have a bunch of friends that are like asking me questions, and I don't mind answering, but I also feel like it's a lot easier just to give it to you guys in the video. Because right, views. If you are new here, hey, hit the subscribe button below. I'm a Boston realtor, so I do give you tips and tricks and anything about real estate. So if you have any questions, comments, and concerns, please do reach out to me. As well as I am a Boston realtor, so if you're looking to buy, sell, or rent, or anything in the area, please do let me know. But yeah, now to get into the meat and potatoes. So before we get into the meat and potatoes, I want to give you like a quick overview of kind of what I do in my job, how I kind of guide my clients through this. Typically, if I start working with a rental client, of course, we have the same introductory. Hey, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. This is who I am. This is what I want to do for you. The documentation that I give my clients is I go about giving a client a GBRAB application, as well as a brokerage disclosure form. The brokerage disclosure form is there to ensure that as the agent, you are getting your money. But long story short, somebody has to pay the broker fee at the end, whether it be the client or not. It could very much be the landlord. So those are two things that I say is important to have first things, so you know that you're really getting started. Once all of that is out the way, I have the application in. What typically needs to go with the application is, other than the rental application, the credit, proof of income could easily be a letter of employment, just anything proving that you're making money and you work there. As well as a banking statement. So these are like 4 things that I would typically go ahead and send out whenever I want to go ahead and submit an application. Those are the 4 things that I typically have from the tenant. So those are the couple of things that I need when going about getting the whole rental started and making sure that whenever we put in an application, it puts our best foot forward. So now the meat and potatoes. What are my top 5 things to look out for before signing your lease? Number 1 is, please peep the credit requirements, because they will literally tell you landlord requires good credit. Do not apply with bad credit, like less than 650, and assume that you're going to get an acceptance for the apartment. What I would suggest though is, if you really want the unit, what I say to partner that with is, I think it's best to have a letter to landlord. This letter to landlord will just be very transparent, kind of explaining all of the red flags with your application. I partner this with anything, regardless as to if my clients have good credit or not, just because it's a very nice thing for the landlord to have, and it puts transparency before anything. So I like that. I think it's a good one. The second thing that I would say to look out for is peep the terms of the lease. Terms meaning the months. How long is your lease? Some will say 6 months, but they will still have $2,000 a month for the rental. But you want to keep in mind that with some of those half a year kind of leases, what tends to happen is, if you say, oh, I want 12 months, then they just like twisted your number in a whole different kind of direction, which is literally bonkers. But keep that in mind, because you'll kind of entertain a conversation and you didn't really realize that they jacked up your rent. No. So just keep that in mind. Anticipate those kinds of rebuttals from something like that. Just no. However, terms are always negotiable, so do understand that. But when terms are negotiable, so is the bread, right? Right. Third thing to look out for, and really keep this in mind forever, look out for upfront and closing costs. Upfront costs could be like a deposit. In order to hold the unit, we need a $1,400 deposit. Some people, they don't really understand their finances, because you could have finances on paper, but you don't have finances in pocket, and that is a very different thing. So when it comes to things like that, for those who have finances on paper and they do not have finances in pocket, you want to keep an eye out for these things, because this is just extra kind of money that's going out the pocket. You need to kind of keep it intact. So what I would suggest is look for things that don't require a deposit and keep an eye out for, what's due at closing. Closing costs, keep in mind, first, last, security, brokers. Those are like the four. You can always kind of anticipate 4 times your rent. Okay, I'll break it down for a second. First is your first month's rent. Last is your last month's rent. Security is equivalent to 1 month's rent unless stated otherwise. Broker's fee goes to the agent you may or may not have. They get the broker's fee, which is also equivalent to 1 month's rent. So keep those things in mind. If you do not have reserves for 4 times your months, if you do not have 4 times your month's rent in reserves at that point in time, do not look out for first, last, security, and broker. We're looking for like a first and security. We're looking for like a last and broker. I'm like trying to help you anticipate, like, when you go to the store and you put in your card and it declines and you don't want somebody to tell you it declined. It's just embarrassing, right? So I'm trying to help you with the declined issue. No declined cards here. My 4th tip on what to look out for before signing your lease is any additional fees that may go with your applications in terms of moving costs. That could be anywhere from like $125 to $250. This could be, and this ultimately just saves the building from like the damage that you could do from the move. So like, it'll be like putting the padding in the elevator and, making sure the paintings are off the wall so you don't hit the damn Picasso. Not Picasso's on the damn floor. Stuff like that. So you just want to keep an eye out for that. Condo fees, if you wanted to go rent a condo, you might have condo fees in terms of like, they might have like sewage, snow plowing and stuff like that. They have a bunch of different things that are associated with condo fees. So if you're getting into a condo, it's very likely that you're also responsible for condo fees. Broker fees, we know that a broker fee is negotiable, but really for Boston, it's a norm to have broker fees here still. I know that New York is, off the broker fee, I believe, but yeah, we still have them here. You can fight for them though, but there's still a thing here. You might be able to ask like, hey, can I pay half? You pay half. You want to look specifically, if you don't want to pay a broker fee, you want to look for something with no broker fee. So keep an eye out for that. And the last tip that I have for you, and it's very important, but whenever you are going to move, please, please, please find somebody that you trust so they are able to take you through this process. It does not have to be a realtor, but it very much can be a realtor. I know that a lot of people just work with agents because they just work with agents, but I really think that it's important to have a built relationship with your realtor so you feel comfortable with their opinion, and you just want to make sure that they're giving you the right information. And a lot of times, especially when it comes to rentals, a lot of people do not care about the relationship that they have with the agent, because again, like, they're like, yo, I'm like moving in a couple of weeks. And I get it, but again, like, especially if you are relocating, I know that there's just agents that take that kind of power for granted and they don't do their job. So because of that, I use this as one of my biggest tips, because at the end of the day, this process is very hard within itself, and you need people that you can trust, so you can bounce ideas off of each other and things like that. So I think it's very important. That's just me. Yeah, but if you guys have any additional questions, or you have suggestions for another video, or you have any additional tips for anybody else that's looking to get into a rental, please leave it in the comments below. But without further ado, I'm gonna go eat. I'm hungry. Okay, bye guys.